on the Farm by Roger Hargreaves. Mr. Silly was very excited. He had just bought a farm. He had always wanted to be a farmer, Farmer Silly. And on his farm, he had some cows and sheep and pigs and a duck pond and chickens and an orchard and lots of fields. The only problem was that Mr. Silly had no idea how to be a farmer, not a clue. He was so clueless that on his first day, he fed cornflakes to the cows. Cornflakes! Have you ever heard of anything quite so daft? And there was more. He put the pig in the hen house and it got stuck. He filled the duck pond with custard and all the ducks flew away. He trained the farm cat to herd the sheep. A sheep cat! What nonsense! All the sheep escaped. He trained the sheepdog to collect the eggs, which was possibly an even worse idea. Mr. Silly trying to plow his own field was definitely an even worse idea. Finally, he picked up the apples in the orchard with a saw. By the end of his first week on the farm, everything had gone wrong. And because everything had gone wrong, there were no apples or sausages for little Miss Dotty's apple and sausage cake. There was no milk to go in Mr. Greedy's daily packet of cornflakes. In fact, there were no cornflakes because Mr. Silly had fed them all to the cows. And there were no eggs for Mr. Strong's breakfast. Mr. Strong decided to investigate and walked up to the farm from town, which took rather long than normal because he was feeling a bit weak without his eggy breakfast. You might say he was exhausted. And at the top of the hill, at the farm gate, he found Mr. Silly, or rather Farmer Silly, admiring his acres and looking as pleased as a punch. Well, that explains everything, sighed Mr. Strong, who set about putting everything straight. He began collecting some eggs for his breakfast, a lot of eggs for Mr. Strong's breakfast. Then, once he had regained his strength, he put the pigs back into the pigsty. He arranged for Mr. Fussy to replow the field in the beautiful straight furrows. He fed hay to the cows, and he asked Mr. Neat to replant the apple trees in the orchard in neat, nice rows. And he carried all the sheep back to their padlock. And he organized Mr. Greedy to empty the custard from the duck pond. Everything was just how it should be, until he heard a loud cry of "Out!" from the other side of the hedge. Mr. Strong peered through the hedge, and there was Mr. Silly playing tennis with the pig. The end.